delighted to have this opportunity to speak to everyone, so thanks very much. So my day job, I work at Leeds University. I'm a geographer, so I'm interested in all things sustainable. In terms of how do we build the sustainable neighbourhoods of the future? In my kind of quite quasi day job, I've been building this project called LILAC for the last 6 years, and we just moved in a year ago. So I want to do two things in the next 15 minutes, which I will keep to. I want to tell you a little bit about the LILAC story, but more importantly, the wider implications of what LILAC means in terms of what can we achieve over the next generation or so, addressing the topic of this this talk tonight. My son Rafi, who was just actually born at number 19 there, so I'm thinking of where will my family grow up? Where will his family grow up? What kind of seeds are we sowing today to lay the foundations for different kinds of urban living over the next couple of generations? Now, this is LILAC. This is what we built. It's in West Leeds. We're a community. We're a cooperative community of 35 adults and 10 kids. I'm kind of evangelical about the LILAC model. It's a wonderful place to live, and we've been planning it for 6 years. The home's made from straw and timber, but I'll be saying a bit more about that as we go along. But it's based upon some really strong values. I've put here ecology, equality, and community. LILAC itself has been a wonderful tree, which comes out in May, as you know. In all sorts of different colours around our cities. It's an acronym. It stands for Low Impact Living, Affordable Community. It's a model. It's a housing. This is a prototype first project which we've developed along with kind of many other supportive partners, Homes and Communities Agency, Leeds City Council, amongst others. But it's something we really passionately want to see rolled out across the city region. There's a completely different way of living, but a way of living which can help us respond to the big challenges of the future. So LILAC's a model, okay, but at its centre there's some values. And the values drive what LILAC is. It grounds us. It tells us what kind of future we want to see. Those are some of the values those are the values that we foreground: learning, equality, well-being, various ones. And we hold those dear, and we make decisions around them, and we organise ourselves around them as a community. So LILAC's a co-op, so every resident is a member. Around the outside, these are the three aspects: low impact living, affordable, community. That's the concept, and that's what we're trying to put into practice in everyday life. Now, let's look at those three challenges. The first challenge, the low impact challenge. Here's just one slide I'll use to represent that huge challenge. How are we going to build buildings of tomorrow which are super insulated and significantly reduce their carbon footprint? Now, this is just one thermal heat imaging picture which was taken by some researchers at Sheffield University of LILAC. That's my house on the left. In the middle of the picture, not glowing very. People who are used to these kind of images, you'll notice. So it's not much heat is being transferred to the outside. The semi-detached interwall semis around LILAC are glowing red because of their poor insulation, their poor build fabric. What we're going to achieve through using straw, which is abundant in the north, is super insulated and really affordable homes. These are great quality homes at an affordable price. So just one representation of the huge challenge. How do we make this massive shift, both retrofitting and new build, to seriously low carbon homes that are affordable? So that's the first challenge. The second one is the affordability challenge, right? This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a complete decoupling between house prices and wages. And LILAC has devised a clever model, which I'll talk about in a minute, which links house values to wages and not to the housing bubbles we've seen, which are creating the turbulence in our casino economy. And the social challenge, there's so many social challenges for different groups, be it overwork, gridlock, rush hour. Leeds just comes to a standstill twice a day, but absolutely no good reason apart from we haven't figured out a good reason to restructure our lives to not do that. English riots, dereliction in the city communities, so many social problems we face. How do we start to weave back the social fabric which seems to be unpacking all around us in cities? So those are just a glimpse of some of the kind of issues that we're dealing with the LILAC model. Trying to shift the debate using those kinds of terms. Now, LILAC builds what we call intermediate housing. We're not building the cheapest housing, which is kind of social rented, which is very important and certainly must still be delivered by the state. In fact, Leeds is embarking on building more council homes, which is great. But we're building intermediate housing, which is those not on housing benefit but count by the lower decile level. So it's the people in the middle that can't afford to get on the housing ladder but are in work and are not eligible for housing benefit. This middle is not being provided for apart from the scurrilous private sector who's providing some pretty shoddy housing and rent levels out there. So our model is a cooperative model, puts the 7 cooperative principles at its heart. It's that cooperativism, born in Rochdale, around this region as you know, is an international movement and how the housing cooperatives are part of that. Now we are what you call a mutual home ownership society. It's a new model which we're advocating for. And a mutual home ownership society does the following. Every adult member pays 35% of their net income to the society, to LILAC, MHOS in this case, and all those 35% of their net income is pooled and pays one mortgage with a corporate lender. That money buys you equity in LILAC, and that value of that equity is linked to wages and not house prices. So when you leave, okay, the value of your equity hasn't gone up much, but we're making a stand against further commodification, speculation of housing. So we've drawn a line in the sand, and we've proved that our houses are full, we've got a waiting list of 40, that people are valuing different things. They don't just want to buy housing as a speculative asset, they want much more out of it than that. And this model guarantees permanent affordability for future generations because the value will not rise and rise and rise as a bubble. So what we're trying to do, look at this, 0.5% of housing in the UK is cooperatively owned. Other European countries, so huge growth on that. So we need to sow some seeds today and from the years forward. How do we start to grow this cooperative movement in the UK? It's tiny, it's still in its infancy after all these decades. How do we shift it on? How do we see this kind of huge growth of cooperative housing which can deliver all these wellbeing benefits? So what did we do at LILAC? Well, we took an old derelict site, which is an old school knocked down in 2006. Not very wise given the capacity issues we're seeing now, but that's a different story. We took it on the left and we turned it into the thing on the right. It took 6 years of kind of thinking and planning. We were only on site for a year, but we've transformed it. What we've done is we've gone through a process with our builders. We've built a community around the whole kind of build process. There were visits from the Homes and Communities Agency. We even had Kevin MacLeod and the ex-housing minister popping on to plant a tree or two. So it was a real exercise of bringing us together as a community, and that was cutting the cake last year. And so we've really been through a journey together. We've been through a huge amount as a community, a huge amount of learning. And there's just some glimpses of the strong community life we'll see at LILAC every day. Based upon all sorts of just the little interactions that make life meaningful, which we tend not to have within our kind of very alien urban environments where you rush home and shut our doors and don't talk to our neighbours. So what next? Okay, just the last couple of minutes, just what can all this mean? Yeah, I live in a great place. I've not just come here to tell you that thanks very much and I'll go home. The point is, what can we do? What kind of conversation can we be part of? How can we share what we've done? We've walked on great shoulders. We want to kind of share that out. What about the finances of this? Well, the finances stack up. Here they are. Lots of you in the audience have industry expert much more than me. I'm a humble academic geographer. However, I've had to get my hands dirty with numbers and all sorts of things. So basically, here's the development cost which we ran as a community group to figure this stuff out. We came at £1,000 per square metre construction costs. Look at average house prices in LILAC, 140,000, but in Leeds 170. That's for a 3-bed semi. So we've got an affordable model here that can be rolled out. Straw. I'm kind of interested in straw, as you might have guessed. So we've got lots of straw in the north of England. It's a very good product to build from. It's carbon sequestering. Yeah, as the cellulose grows, locks up carbon, which you can lock up in your home. It's very simple, it's very ancient, it's very unused, rather than using cement and steel and brick. It goes up very easily. You can get the community involved in building it. The way we're doing it is this prefabricated product called ModCell. Now, the Beta House, which is their ModCell, which is their prototype, is a domestic carbon bank. Each 3-bed home locks up 34 tonnes of CO2. Yeah, 34 tonnes of CO2. It's a lot of CO2 for each house to bank. Imagine if we did that across the region. Imagine if those 800,000 homes could do that. They do the opposite. They emit that much when you're building with brick, block and steel. They do the opposite. How can we undo that? Yeah? So, here's some speculative things about what we could do in the future. So what can we do across Leeds and beyond? Well, we need all sorts of things. We've learned so much as a community group. We want to kind of connect with those that want to do similar things and are doing similar things to kind of transform the way communities, neighbourhoods and housing is delivered in this region. Experimental sites and restrictions on land banking. You know, we are dealing with very problematic land markets, right, in terms of values and availability. Lots of agencies and individuals have lots of sites. How can we devote lots of sites to experimental projects to get this stuff off the ground more? We need large-scale investment which will yield returns going to the pension markets. We need lots of capacity building, especially in terms of cooperative capacity. How do we run and live in cooperatives? We need a community-owned development vehicle and a widespread use of natural resources. And this is my last slide. We have started conversations in Leeds about something like a community-led housing organisation for the city. The time is right to set up some kind of organisation that over the next 10 years, all sorts is possible. We could deliver 30 projects like LILAC. It doesn't have to be exactly like LILAC. LILAC's a kind of template. It's a suite of ingredients you can choose from. Homes for 3,000 people. Leeds has to build 70-odd thousand homes. We can be partners in delivering that. We could get with this kind of model, with some judicious business planning, £100 million of investment from the pension markets. There's a conversation to be had, and some of us, and those are the kind of logos of the people that we've been getting around the table to host this conversation, to get this stuff off the ground. Leeds has got an ambitious programme of building new council homes. Could they be run cooperatively and owned by the community to avoid right to buy problems? There's all sorts of potentials in the city waiting to be grasped with good organisation and clear thinking, and we want to be part of that. So I've got a book out as an academic. I kind of did the whole story. Everyone's asking me loads of questions about LILAC. I kind of wrote it all down in a book. It's out now. A little discount if you want one, if you're going to buy one. There's my email if you want to contact me on the website of LILAC if you want to look. There's some flyers of discount flyers out of the front. It does that when you get to the end. I didn't press that then. So that's me. That's the book. That's LILAC. I'll stop there. Thank you.